This one kind of goes out to the Chelsea fans, I think. Graham Potter's been hired as your manager. Don't know if you saw. He just had his first game today. Thomas Tuchel got sacked. Um, Draw, not probably the result he would have necessarily wanted. It's coming. Obviously, Queen Elizabeth II has also passed away, so him coming in is coming at a weird time as well because there's postponements going on as well. So there'll be congested fixtures in the future. James, I just want to kind of open this up to kind of a more broad conversation here. I believe wasn't it a 6-year deal, 5-year deal for Graham Potter for a guy who's not managed at this level before, who I don't think you and I are doubting as a coach or a manager. We've seen what he's done at Brighton. I think this was probably in the early parts of the season before he left Brighton. This was probably manager of the year front runner in terms of what he was able to achieve at Brighton. I, though, have a bit of a sour feeling about Graham Potter at the moment. I don't think with this new ownership and with the squad in the way that it is, that Graham Potter is set up to be successful here. And my kind of bold statement, which is where I want to kind of, use as kind of a jumping off point here to start our conversation here. James, part of me thinks that Graham Potter won't last the year. I think that if those Champions League spots aren't guaranteed, I think somebody like this new owner, Todd Boehly, is going to think to himself, well, you're not going to cut the mustard here. I'm going to go get somebody else who can. I think you and I would both say that 5th or 6th wouldn't be that bad maybe for this Chelsea team and Graham Potter in his first year, if we see signs of what Graham Potter's trying to do and achieve with a January transfer window under his belt, etc., after the World Cup. But James, I'm not going to lie, I can't quite put my finger on it. I tried to articulate it just then. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I don't have a lot of faith for Graham Potter seeing out this year. I don't know if you agree, disagree.
I don't know what to make about that, Jack, because I don't agree with it, but I don't disagree with it at the same time, Jack, because
Iffy, isn't it?
To me, the Todd Boehly is coming in I'm not sure what to make of it. But if I'm a Chelsea supporter, I would be a little bit worried because we kind of had a weird and hectic transfer window, being linked with a lot of superstars here and there. With lots of, I heard Neymar a little bit. You heard also Ronaldo a lot. Tuchel didn't want Ronaldo. Tuchel wanted Aubameyang, so he signs Aubameyang. He then we know the relationship between Tuchel and Aubameyang. He then sacks Tuchel after a day of training with Aubameyang. It's like, so this man wanted this man. You didn't want him, but the manager that you were about to sack was pushing to get him. You got him and you sacked him.
Right.
That doesn't make sense of this point of view. But if you're looking at it from Graham Potter's side of it, I feel he would be stupid enough to turn down this sort of opportunity.
Oh, he had to take it. Yeah, he had to. I'm not disputing that at all. Yeah.
British coaches don't get these sort of opportunities.
Right.
So for him to be put into the situation when he first seen it, no matter what the scenario is, you put yourself in an opportunity to go from there.
For sure.
The only issue I have for him is that people talk about Brighton. Look what he did in Brighton. Look what he did in Brighton. Cool. But in my opinion, when it comes to football, there's levels to this, what.
Right.
And can he bridge that gap? It's all good going, doing it with Brighton, where players are willing to listen to you a bit more. Where the expectation is that you don't have to win every single week. But now you're going to be at Chelsea where, Jack, we know Chelsea's track record. We know what it's like after 10 games of, let's say, a bit of unsure results. We've seen that with Mourinho. We've seen that with Frank. We've seen that with Conte. We've seen that with Vias. We've seen that with everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
He picked, to me, one of the hardest jobs to come into because you can't be satisfied with Chelsea.
No.
Right? It won't cut it, let's say, having 10 games. They want the whole thing. And I look at Todd Boehly in where he is right now. I'm not sure what he even wants from his coach.
The other thing I'd say as well, mate, I don't love their transfer window at all. I wouldn't have signed Aubameyang. You couldn't. I don't know if you'd have paid me to sign Aubameyang. I think you see somebody like Alexander Isak there. You could easily reach out to his agent if you hear some rumblings of what's going on and just be like, hey, we can match that offer. Can we give your client a little more money? You come play for us, right? Who else have we got? Kalidou Koulibaly, again, for now, I don't mind it. But as each year passes, we're going to look back at that and go, wow, he's taken up a lot of the wage bill. Wow, he's not getting any better. Wow, he's not getting any younger, blah, blah, blah. Fofana, is he worth that kind of money? Marc Cucurella is not worth that kind of money. I'm sorry, he's just not. He was bought 12 months before for like 15 million. You go ahead and pay him 55. Again, Graham Potter, I'm sure, is going to be happy with Marc Cucurella. Sure, he's going to be happy with the increased talent level in the squad that he's going to be managing. But James, the guys that have been brought in and also the guys that have left, I'm just still a bit like, I don't know what to make of Chelsea at the moment. You're right, it was a job he had to take, and I can't fault him for that. But like we've just said, I think long term, I feel like he was potentially, again, it's really mental to say, I feel like he was in a better position to succeed as Brighton manager. Am I mad for saying that? Because especially the way we've seen the start of the year, James, he's got to kind of turn the ship around here a little bit. He's got a couple of games, then an international break, then I think 5 or 6 games, then a World Cup, then a couple of games in a transfer window. It's going to be very, very hectic. And my main point, and I'll stop talking here in a second. My big thing, I talk about this a lot. Zinedine Zidane walks into a dressing room. I don't care who you are. You, Lionel Messi, Ronaldo, I don't care. And we saw proof of it with Ronaldo. Zinedine Zidane walks in a dressing room. He demands respect, demands it. Guarantee you with Xavi. Xavi's walking into that Barcelona dressing room. I don't care which player. Well, a lot of them played with him, but I don't care who you are. That's Xavi Hernandez. Thomas Tuchel has some skin in the game. Okay, you know I don't rate him quite as highly as I do some of the other coaches in football. But Thomas Tuchel still has some skin in the game. This was PSG manager. This was Dortmund manager. You know, he's had some success. He's a Champions League winner, for goodness sake. Graham Potter doesn't have that aura. This is a relative unknown. What do we have? Brighton on the list, Swansea on the list. I think there was some League One or League Two club apart from that.
The University in there.
Yeah, like honestly, I don't know if you're a Matteo, and I'm not trying to discredit these players' personalities, but if you're Thiago Silva, if you're Mateo Kovacic, if you're Mason Mount, if you're Raheem Sterling, this guy walks into the dressing room. Are you immediately, is he just demanding respect? And I'm going to listen to this guy. This guy, I can really feel myself. I'm going to work hard for him. He's got some great ideas. Or is there a little bit of, actually, mate, you need to kind of prove that you're good enough to coach us? Because that's the sense I get.
I hope players don't think like that, because then if that's the case, what's the point of being able to give anybody a chance?
I think they do, man.
You have to be a certain type of way. So to a certain point, when Mourinho first came in, he had to automatically prove himself. And yes, you do have to prove yourself to a certain point.
He came in as European champion, though. You know what I mean?
No, but I'm talking about when he first started his coaching journey.
Okay, sure.
His coaching journey, he didn't have that much
in
there.
Barcelona, sorry. Yeah.
To me, it's the way I feel like Graham Potter approaches everything. I think the biggest thing with Graham Potter is having to have a different mindset.
Right.
Now, if he approaches the job like I did in Brighton, or how we set up in Brighton, then that's going to be an issue. Because ultimately, when he set up in Brighton, not every game he sets up to win. Every game at Chelsea, you have to tell these guys, we're not worried about what they do. I want to see what we can do.
Right.
If he's talking, I remember I was listening to Rio Ferdinand. He's talking about his time with David Moyes when David Moyes came in, and he said under Sir Alex Ferguson didn't really talk too much about the opposition. Why? Because he was confident of the players in the dressing room. Why? Because he had top players there. Now,
they
Moyes
need to play us, not us need to play them, right? It's that
exactly.
Kind of, yeah.
When Moyes came in, he would mention about in most team talks, he would talking so much about the opposition and neglect his team, while his team were looking at there. It's like, why are we playing to stop them when they should be playing to stop us? You should be telling us how great we are.
Right.
We can beat them.
That's Aubameyang. That's Sterling. That's Reece James. Yeah, exactly.
You know, in probably around 20% of games this year that Chelsea was set up, and we might not expect them to get the result. Maybe against the Liverpool to a certain point, a City when they go to certain Champions League games. But Jack, every other game, Chelsea sets up to get good results. And to me, if he can articulate that week in and week out for these Chelsea players, then he could be a success. But if he goes in the mindset and thinks that I'm still a Brighton and that we have to look at the opposition and I'm not sure what he can do, we're not sure what he can do. Like, listen, these are, forget about Premier League players. These are some world-class football players here. A lot of Champions League winners here. A lot of players who have been to the Bernabeu and got results. Has been to the Bernabeu and got results in big Champions League game. Some of them have won leagues. So it's just, to me, if he can articulate everything the right way, then he can be a success. If not, if he goes the way Moyes did it, and like previous managers who haven't had that sort of stock there, then he'll be in for a short period of time at Chelsea.
I'd also say as well, I mean, it's a long contract. Thomas Tuchel leaves the club and I think got a payoff of like 16 million, right? I don't know if Graham Potter's being paid like that, and I don't think he is. I don't think he can justify being paid to that level. So again, I think Todd Boehly's going to look at that as well, and just if results don't quite go his way, he's going to be like, it's cheap to get rid of as well. We can just move on to the next man up.
But Jack, you say that Chelsea had to pay a £16 million release clause
to get him in the first place, right?
So,
but just very quickly for everybody watching, I'm pulling those numbers largely out of my arse, so don't you don't quote me.
Yeah, but if they're gonna invest that sort of money and give him a 5-year deal, Jack, listen, let's just say that payout was 12 million or 15 million. Jack, that's 30 million you spent on a manager like you having used for a long period of time. And you said, will he last the whole season? If this was Roman Abramovich, then we can talk about a different story here. But I like to think right now with Mr. Boehly.
But don't you think he's arguably more erratic of a decision maker than Roman Abramovich?
Yes, but Jack, my big theory with this whole Thomas Tuchel thing is that I believe that when Todd Boehly came in, he wanted to eradicate everything that Roman Abramovich is and is doing for Chelsea. So you look at, for the first thing he done when he came in, got rid of all the backroom staff. Check. Who's the female sport director? Got rid of all of them.
Marina Granit Skaya, yeah.
Listen, all of them were gone. He brought in his people there. You look at some of the signings there. Lukaku, gone. Timo Werner, spent a lot of money on him, gone. The last bit, and I understand you can't get rid of all the players straight away, but one of the biggest things that you can get rid of is the guy that he appointed. And Thomas Tuchel was the guy that the last person Roman Abramovich appointed as manager. So if he wants to establish his own Chelsea, he needs to get rid of that Roman guy and bring in his guy to start up this new Chelsea. And ultimately, to me, that's the reason why he was sacked in the first place. You know,
it's more just poor decision making, and just from a standpoint of planning. Kalidou Koulibaly is a signing for now. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, James, is a signing for now. Wesley Fofana, sure, signing for the future, that's fine. Raheem Sterling is a signing for now. I mean, he's still pretty young, but I mean, that's a guy who can contribute now. So that with a guy who I'm sure, James, he had to present some sort of style and some sort of, way of playing that had to be appealing to the ownership to give him the job in the first place. So maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel, but I've got to be honest, I think I've tried to articulate it, and I think you've done a good job in understanding where I'm come from and expanding on it as well and giving your own points. But I have this kind of guttural, bad feeling that poor old Graham Potter, it could get to February, few games don't go his way, and we could be looking at, Mauricio Pochettino has been offered the job. Zinedine Zidane has been reached out to do the job. So I'm just saying, for you, this year, he stays, right, the whole year?
I feel like if Chelsea does get rid of him, if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'll be questioning what in the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm. I'll be honest with you, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be, and I'm not, and I'm still questioning what the hell's going on at this point. I think we need to see some turnaround at Chelsea, and I don't know if these fixture postponements benefit it or not. I think that's up for debate as well. Guys at home, let me know what you think. I know I've just kind of gone off on one a little bit here. Do you think Graham Potter's going to last the year? Do you think he's going to be a success? 5-year deal, first time. I think it was his first time ever going to a Champions League game, and he was managing Chelsea.
He looked good. I can't even lie, Jack. He looked good with the black tie and everything. Went with like went for the Diego Simeone thing. I like it.
100%. I rate it. I rate it. And again, I don't think there's any doubt in this guy's ability as a coach as well, because if it doesn't work out at Chelsea, he will get a mid-table, lower-table team, and I'm sure he'll do a fantastic job. But guys, let us know what you think. Is he going to last a year? Is it going to be a success at all? How's the January transfer window going to go for him as well? Are we going to see Aubameyang getting sold in January? Who knows? Drop a like on the video if you like what you've seen. Double check that you're subscribed as well so you can get mine and James's videos. Hit the bell as well if you want to get notified for us as well. And until next time, we'll see you.